I'm currently the Head of Learning for Advanced Technologies at Chesterfield College. Within that title, that incorporates all of the construction and engineering trades from pre-16 right up to the HE levels that we currently run in engineering, construction and motor vehicle. It's basically the trades of construction, joinery, brickwork, painting, also the engineering sides including motor vehicle. Right, we have quite a few students that do progress onto higher level studies. Sometimes they'll leave college to go to a university for that, but we do also run our own HE provision. Predominantly it's in the engineering area where an apprentice may have completed at level 3 and the company that they work for will encourage them to do the HNC, eventually moving on to the HND. They're not massive numbers, we're probably looking around 20 to 30 learners per year that do that. In construction it tends to be less these days that progress onto HE within the college, although we are again actively promoting that for future. I do have kind of issue with some of our learners being able to advance onto a higher level. I myself as a joiner found it very difficult to work at higher levels of study. I think a lot of the craft route apprentices such as carpentry and joinery and brickwork kind of find that the level 3 is as far as they need to advance academically, and because the HE provision or the HE routes are more academic, less practical skills required, it does deter a lot of them from going on because they know that that's a barrier to some of them for progression. In engineering we do tend to find that quite the opposite. They're all really keen to advance because even at level 2 in engineering there's a very high level of maths, and this tends to draw a more academic learner or academically able learner, and that's why we think we have higher numbers within the engineering HE provision as opposed to construction. I think the need for support is quite often a barrier that prevents the learner from even wanting to access the course. They realise it's highly academic compared to craft routes that they may have done before. However, if a student does advance onto HE provision within college, we have the same support mechanisms available to anybody. Somebody with dyslexia, for example, could still access that course and we will support however best. Obviously there is a level of self-study, a level of distance learning where they've got to work on research and assignment projects. It's very difficult therefore to support that to the degree they may have been used to when they've gone down the advanced practical routes that we offer. So no restriction, but obviously it does deter the learner from wanting to access those courses. Because I do think that the learners themselves can quite easily switch off from further advanced study, it's never been tested to a great degree, but we do have learners that are receiving support. A prime example may be the maths and further maths that we do on the HE provision. This is something where we've put maths teachers in to support the delivery by the engineering specialists, so that they're getting two sides of development, not just pure maths from engineering point of view, but we're getting then a real mathematician working with them on the more simple basic applications of mathematics. It's difficult to put support in place when the learners themselves don't want it. They've not identified a need for it, and while ever they're coping with a course, we tend to think that's an acceptable level for us. But I do know we've got some great support mechanisms within the college, and they're always available to anybody that may want to access them. We do get a lot of apprentices that have high aspirations. Again, it tends to be that the engineering field is a much broader spectrum of academic level. We tend to find that big companies such as Bombardier and Rolls-Royce that we've worked with, they are heavily encouraging the research, the development and the further study of an engineering apprentice. So at level 3 there are great avenues that they can progress into. I still think that with the small enterprises or small medium enterprises that we're dealing with at Chesterfield, you tend to find that the construction side is more about the practical skills of building a house, of equipping the joinery or doing the bricklaying, and it doesn't lend itself quite the same to the advanced study. But an apprentice with the desire to move on, we have a route for every single area. It's just really finding the support from the employer and obviously the desire from the apprentice. And I think also ultimately it's about the desire within the apprentice to want to advance. It could be that they want to advance to run their own business, and the skills that they can develop through that high level of academic study can equip them with running that business. It may be that they want to advance to university but it's that desire that we need in the apprentice, and some do quite often get steered towards running their own business, but at a lower level than a full house builder. In engineering, it's always accepted. The big companies that we work with, again, such as Tarmac, are heavily encouraging their apprentices to advance through these higher study, and it opens doors for promotion within the company as well by having these higher qualifications. Well, I think it's no surprise that somebody completing an apprenticeship at level 3 has many doors open to them. Within the industry, it's seen as the standard required to be able to cope with the demands of the industry, whether that's engineering side or the construction side. But I think equally there's still a lot of people that will benefit by progressing onto higher levels of study, and this opens doors in a different area. Certainly for the engineering side, there's a very specialist market of research and development, and without a degree you're not going to get anywhere near that kind of work. In construction, I think it means that instead of just being the general builder, you're more likely to be able to survey and quantity survey, and even move on to architecture. And this is something that's very useful for those learners. Right, progression for our apprentices is a big thing. We know that they've moved from level 2 to level 3, which is a natural route that they would take. What colleges don't always have is the option of the next step after their level 3 qualification. So currently we're promoting our HE provision, so people will move from the engineering field into a HNC qualification to get that academic level of the next step. Some companies are curious to the new higher apprenticeship. There are restrictions, there are things that prevent them being able to do it. We need to be able to see the apprentice not only doing the HNC, they also need to be able to do an NVQ within the workplace to demonstrate that they've got the actual work experience, and that's proving to be a hurdle, because at that level they need to be supervising, not just purely operating within the company. So we've got a restriction there, but as a college we are able to offer both routes. We can put people through a purely academic HE qualification, or we can match that with the company and get a higher apprenticeship incorporating some HE study alongside the work experience that they need as well.